Why are countries like Indonesia, the Philippines, and Myanmar still struggling to develop, even though they're packed with oil, minerals, fertile land, and young populations? Meanwhile, Japan and South Korea became economic powerhouses with almost no natural resources. In this video, we break down the 5 real reasons Southeast Asia lags behind East Asia in development, and why corruption is the #1 hidden barrier most people ignore.
Let's start with the elephant in the room: corruption. In many Southeast Asian countries, corruption isn't an exception. It's how business gets done. From police demanding bribes to billionaires buying laws, the system rewards connections, not competence. Take Indonesia. Under dictator Suharto, his family controlled everything, from toll roads to baby formula. He's estimated to have stolen $35 billion, more than the entire GDP of Cambodia. Or the Philippines, where the Marcos family ruled for 20 years and looted an estimated $10 billion. Even today, political dynasties dominate Congress, turning public office into family business. And who can forget Malaysia's 1MDB scandal? Over $4.5 billion vanished from a national fund, used to buy yachts, luxury apartments, and even finance the Wolf of Wall Street. Compare that to South Korea. Yes, they had corruption too, but they jailed their presidents for it. They built independent anti-graft agencies. They made corruption risky, not routine. In Southeast Asia, people keep electing corrupt leaders who knows how to play the game by giving incentives to their followers. Corruption is often legalized through loopholes, protected by elites, and ignored by weak courts. And that kills innovation, scares investors, and drains money from schools, hospitals, and roads. Now, let's shift our focus to the pervasive issue of racism and religion, which has deep historical roots in Southeast Asia. Racism in Southeast Asia often stems from colonial histories and ethnic diversities. Tribalism amongst different groups of the same race is also a common thing, further dividing people along lines of origins and cultures. If ASEAN people are united, they can bring down corrupt governments using their online collective strength. Ethnic minorities in Southeast Asian countries often face barriers to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities, creating a cycle of poverty. Discrimination translates into systemic inequalities that stifle economic growth and social cohesion. The focus on race or religious identity over national identity inhibit unity, making collective action towards development difficult. While some nations strive for unity, rampant discrimination due to race or religion creates divisions that are hard to overcome. This hinders collective national efforts in development. Religious ideologies can sometimes resist modern scientific or social advancements, stalling progress in education and governance. Some governments impose restrictions based on religion, limiting individual freedoms and fostering societal divisions. Leaders in societies which prioritize religion and race are appointed not according to their ability or experience, fostering a culture of mediocrity. Due to the limited opportunities, talented individuals from marginalized communities seek opportunities abroad, depriving their home countries of crucial human resources, brain drainage. South Koreans and Japanese people are not free of racism or xenophobia, far from it, but they don't have much racial tensions in their own society. They are also secular, and majority of them are not affiliated to any religion, making them cohesive and focused on progress. It would be foolish to think that Southeast Asians are united from the scene of their leaders holding hands. Southeast Asian neighbors have deep resentments stemming from either competing with each other, history of confrontations, cultural variations, or economic power. Take Indonesia and Malaysia, the 2 Muslim-majority countries in Southeast Asia. Many Malaysians have Indonesian ancestries. They both can speak the Malay and Indonesian language, and millions of Indonesians work in Malaysia. Despite having so much in common, Indonesians and Malaysians constantly argue online, which results in nothing except creating more hatred and resentment. Southeast Asian countries trade more with other countries than their neighbors, for that matter. The unfortunate thing is this: Southeast Asian people can become a strong bloc if they leave their differences aside and work together towards a common goal. Not the government, the people themselves. Nationalism will not matter as much as survival and prosperity, and that's why it's important that Southeast Asians look beyond physical and national boundaries to grow together in a world that is getting more competitive that even governments can't do anything. Another issue here is blind loyalty. Southeast Asians are very loyal to a fault, even when their leaders are obviously bring harm to the country. In cases of corruption or human rights abuses, often it takes foreign intervention to stop them. Southeast Asians pride themselves on sovereignty and don't welcome foreigners to interfere. Usually it's too late, and the damage have been too extensive internationally that they have no choice but to take action against their leaders. Politics is a big issue, and many depends their livelihood on being close to political leaders. Even when leaders are obviously caught in corruption scandals, many would not accept it and accuse others creating propaganda. The West are often vilified as evil, and human rights organizations do not receive support from Southeast Asians because of their blind loyalty to their leaders. Here's a cruel irony. Having too many resources can make you poorer. Economists call this the resource curse. When a country earns easy money from oil, gas, or palm oil, it has little incentive to build factories, train engineers, or innovate. Look at Brunei, oil-rich, but 90% of its non-oil economy is tiny. Or Indonesia, still exporting raw nickel instead of making EV batteries, though that's slowly changing. Meanwhile, Japan and South Korea had no choice but to innovate. No oil, no minerals, just brains, discipline, and global markets. They forced companies to export or die. They invested profits into R&D, not luxury condos. Southeast Asia? Too often, resource wealth flows to a few, while the rest wait for handouts or migrate abroad for work. Southeast Asia has near-universal primary enrollment, but schooling isn't the same as learning. In the Philippines, half of grade 5 students can't read a simple paragraph. In Cambodia, only 12% of STEM teachers are qualified. Compare that to South Korea, where students rank number 1 globally in math and science, and over 70% go to university, many in engineering or AI. Japan rebuilt its entire education system after World War II, focused on critical thinking, discipline, and technical skills. In much of Southeast Asia, education remains rote memorization, underfunded, and disconnected from job markets. So even smart, hardworking youth end up driving grab bikes, not designing apps. It's not all doom. 2 Southeast Asian success stories prove change is possible. Singapore, a tiny island with no resources, banned corruption ruthlessly, invested in world-class education, and turned its port into a global hub. Today, it's richer than the US per capita. Vietnam, once devastated by war, now grows faster than China. How? By copying East Asia. State-led industrial policy, heavy STEM investment, and welcoming foreign tech giants like Samsung. Now Vietnam's number 1 exporter. The lesson? Geography and history aren't destiny. Strong institutions, clean governance, and long-term vision can override even the worst colonial legacy. Southeast Asia isn't poor because its people lack talent or drive. It's poor because systems were designed to extract, not empower. But with digital transparency, youth activism, and regional cooperation, that can change. If you found this deep dive valuable, smash that like button. It tells YouTube this matters. Subscribe and hit the bell for more unfiltered truths about global development, geopolitics, and the hidden forces shaping our world. And tell us in the comments, which Southeast Asian country do you think will rise next? Thanks for watching. Stay curious.